It's my turn. I've only gone twice.
It's my turn.
Yeah, we haven't gone at all, bud.
I've only gone twice.
Welcome to the Unthink Me podcast.
Well,
Welcome.
yeah, they get to be in there a little bit. Who are you guys, anyways?
Oh,
I'm Adam.
Danielle.
And I'm also Adam.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wow, I said my real name. That's funny. I was going to say I'm Danielle, and I said I'm Adam. Because I switched it, and then I switched it again right before I went.
I actually am Danielle.
Being sneaky.
Like, I gave you the poison. Yeah. Oh, well. And then it just goes out. Right. Maybe I should do that more often. Just try and fuck up and see if it just, woo, hey, well, I
You
got it.
accidentally did it right.
Well, fellas, I'm running around the clock here. It looks like I'm pulling an up all-nighter into the day here. Counter to that, we're going to talk about Orange Meme, Rational Achiever, and how that relates to horror films. Scary movies, as they were called in the 90s and aughts because of Scream. You know, it's funny when somebody says a word and then everyone says it and they don't realize that they said it because that person said it.
There was an interview with Tom Cruise where he called the interviewer glib. And that became a thing for like a year and a half.
Glib. Oh, I love glib so much, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, glib's a great. You're being glib, Matt. Matt, you're being glib. I had to look it up. I think I've told you before too. Tom Cruise plays the role of my nemesis in my dreams. I don't know who it is really, but he's played by Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise does a bang up job as usual.
Yeah, as seen in Adam's dreams. Your dreams are only getting like 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
We don't even bring them into that. Yeah, I know. Well, when we release Gremlins 3, the tides are gonna turn, man.
Gremlins 3, Gremlins in Space. When is midnight? And there's no water. It's all ice.
Is it forever? Is it never? Because there's all those stars. How close to a star do you have to get before midnight counts? Can you just rotate your ship away from it and then it's midnight?
I think we'll find out.
We're gonna fucking, and that's the thing. We're not gonna pea foot around any of this business. We're gonna tell you straight up. You're gonna have a PhD in how the Gremlins fucking work. There will be no mystery left to the Mogwai.
We need to do a Gremlins episode. So today we're gonna continue our series on Harrow. Orange. So we've evolved from amber, we've widened from amber.
Oh, I like evolve. We can evolve.
Like Pokemans.
Then if you regress, you de-evolve if you're going down. It's a dirty word. Anyway.
All right.
Okay.
What is it? In Ninja Turtles, in something they get the de-evolution gun and you get shot with it and you de-evolve to an animal.
Live action Mario movie when they like
evolve
them.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it actually into, like little goo and
that actually is exactly what I was.
It was like an antidote to the mutation.
Which is also the Super Mario movie is a great movie.
They just remade that. It was almost as good as the original. It was really great.
It's not the Bob Hoskins.
Perfect casting. But I'm not gonna lie, like watching that movie, man, because you were there. You saw the whole thing. You were Mario, and you rocked out with your brother, and you saved the princess, and you killed that big dragon guy. You jumped over those pits. And so to see it made into a hero's journey, all fast-paced like everything is now, and all like, woo, like just overly emoted. It was pretty compelling for me. I was like, yeah, you turn those ice monsters into bones. It's cheap as fuck too, because like the way out of every problem is they get a power up, they get a handout. They get the devil's bag of tricks handed to them. And it's like, you didn't defeat Bowser using your cunning or strength. You used a weapon. You got the fire flower and shot flame at him. Now that's Orange Meme, baby.
That's why we always answer the door with a gun.
So it's like good, bad. I'm the guy with the nuke now.
Yeah.
Orange is, this weird thing happens with people that if you're looking back in retrospect, you would think it would happen right from the start, where they just go like, oh, fuck, we don't know anything. Like, what do we know? Like, can anyone prove anything? And then they start going to the base of like why people think what they, you have these people who are hired by the religious institution to do work to get things done, like build better ships, like figure out what causes diseases. And they start finding answers that contradict their mythology. And so they're faced with this dilemma of like, I know, because like the same way I know that if I like drop something, it'll fall, or like the sun will come up in the morning. I know that the world's not, a couple thousand years old. Like now, and it's like, because that's against the social order. So this is kind of the birth of orange meme, which became like kind of a movement in like the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, and just it's really funny though that we go through all these stages before getting to the one that just seems really like, isn't that what you would do by default? It's like, no, not at all.
I equate orange meme or orange stage with pretenders and liars, imposter syndrome. They've figured out that you don't have to fight the mega church. You don't have to fight the government. Just play along and everything goes okay. You can disagree. You just don't voice it.
They are like the spider. They weave their webs of deceit and treachery.
As a growing culture, wherever on earth it is that this arises at whatever time, just play along. That's way easier. You don't have to be so devout and die hard that you're willing to die to stand against the thing, whatever that may be. Just say, that's the thing. Yeah, fuck the sun. I hate it too. I needed a haircut. It doesn't matter. You can play along and be fine. And so in the horror genre, we're seeing systems and systematic betterment of yourself, or the antagonist. It's very cloak and dagger. There's ulterior motives going on. Orange is a huge, wide genre of horror movies, but we've picked a few that kind of exemplify.
Everything comes with the bad and the good, and I always, at this point, it's like, we pointed it out a lot. Like, I really praise orange high, and I think of it in a really positive sense. And I really have like you and I both have negative feelings for like amber and magenta, the more kind of like woo-woo. You're right, though. Like, it comes along with this baggage of hyper individualism, greediness. Really, what's happened is that instead of worshiping like the soul or the heart of man, we are starting to kind of worship the mind. The mind is fundamental. Like all is your mind. The world is your mind. Your mind has the capacity to actually comprehend the nature of reality through physics or some sort of material science. It becomes just compelling, and orange isn't necessarily your most intelligent people, and these aren't rankings of intelligence, but orange values intelligence a lot. Orange finds it to be like a virtue, intelligence, and very forgiving of greediness, acquisitiveness. The value here is we're all in this game and it makes us compete. So competing is good because you make better products, you give better service. So we're actually supposed to be fighting on this commercial level, not like with guns and shit, but we're supposed to just be competing to make the best things win. And so that results in this winners and losers sort of society.
In the individual development side, past toddler age, we're getting older as an individual, and a toddler will lie to you, but it's so unbelievable.
It's not compelling.
You kind of go with it because you don't want to shame the toddler or whatever, or maybe you don't. It's parenting is parenting. But orange, once an individual gets
who ate all that candy? I don't know.
Yeah, mouth, face covered in candy. Go ask Eric. I don't know.
It's in their hair.
Or just straight up like Joey did it.
So a giant space alien came in and ate all the candy, and then also broke Dad's chair.
So you're lying for personality reasons. You're just like straight up like
it's like dumb lies. But in an orange, you've come to a stage where you're fundamentally understanding the prior stages, possibly the one you're lying to. So now believable lies start coming out. The pretender.
You've studied what they want and how to make it appear that you're giving it to them. I mean, this is marketing and persuasion. This is orange tactics, dating game stuff. Orange is all about like, okay, like if you want to get something done, you don't just manipulate someone, you don't just lie to someone, but you tell the closest version to the friendly, nice, actual truth that you possibly can to achieve your goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, those pants don't make you look fat. It's probably a bad cut of pants.
How dare you?
I've never said that to Danielle.
I like that you looked. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Danielle never looks fat.
No. Smoking hot wife.
She does eat McDonald's all the time and never shit, though.
Gotta get down on those baconators.
Oh boy. Are they the Baconator guys? I don't
know. No, that's Wendy's.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know.
Well, there's 3 fast food places in our little town.
Yeah, we're calling you out. You don't even know what McDonald's has on the fucking menu.
Yeah,
they put the sweet chili sauce on.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
it tastes like the soy sauce top ramen packet, seasoning packet.
It is really bad.
Bring
it's like
back
Subway's fucking
Szechuan sauce, or else.
Yeah, I think Subway sold all the rest of their sweet onion sauce to fucking McDonald's. They didn't know what to do with it.
God. I love that stuff.
You had mentioned the kind of achiever villain character. And we'll also see lots of technological shenanigans because Orange Beam is technology, industrialization, and innovation. And then it's like, okay,
it's easy to lend itself to like the evil corporation. Yeah.
Can that make bombs, torture devices, like holding cells? You know, can that be used for horror? It's like, oh yeah, like it's quite a bit of play. We were racking our brains a little bit at the beginning here, right before rolling. We were trying to think of like evil corporation horror, and while it's an element of like everything ever, again with a lot of these memes, it's hard to find like the one that's like that's the horror.
I'm trying to put a fine point on it, and it's just not landing.
We got 2 humdingers. We got 2 really good ones, and then just a small handful of rubbish. An alien picture called Vivarium, which I had not seen, but a vivarium is a little ecological setting that you put life into and you watch it live.
Yeah.
That's a terrarium, isn't it?
Also,
that's what I was guessing, but I was just putting the viv.
I think it's different.
I mean, internet, correct me because I know you will. Vivarium, I think, is the one that you entirely enclose.
Isn't vivarium part of the female anatomy?
Easy, fella. Don't kick me right in the vivarium.
Right, the vivarium.
A couple who is abducted unknowingly by an evil corporation, made to live in this environment not of their choosing, completely alone, cut off from everything, and then horror ensues in the mental anguish when they're made to raise an alien baby.
Vivariums are enclosed areas designed to provide a stable environment for animals and plants for observation or scientific research. So yeah, I think a terrarium is
I don't think you open a vivarium.
I'm not even smart enough to see the difference between those two things.
A terrarium you can open and close and change. Okay. A vivarium you seal and then watch it go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube it. There are some good videos.
Yeah.
I've never, on the record, claimed to be right. I would say too. I've been saying a thing that's annoying me as I edit it. I know the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath, but for some reason, I'm just saying it in a way that sounds like I don't. And I'm just that's it. I'm just saying that, like, I get it. That is, I've been saying psychopaths are people who can't understand other people's feelings, and that's more a sociopath.
Yeah.
But when you're in a psychopathic state, you may or may not understand other people where they're coming from, and they intermesh with one another. You can have sociopathic psychopaths and psychopathic sociopaths. Like
before we started filming, right? American Psycho.
Yes. Okay. So that's one of my big-uns right there. I think.
I think that was actually
we can camp on this one for a minute. Yeah.
I think as a book, it's not really horror, but in the movie store, they put it in horror. You're like, okay, this is going to be a serial killer flick. I know what to expect. And you watch it, and it's like very cinematic and very literate, and it's not super shooty, stabby. It's more like funny lines and cool moments. And so it took me a couple watches before I even understood what the movie was. I thought it was just kind of a bad slasher movie, honestly. But then I started to really appreciate it and all the hilariousness. For me, this is a thing. It sometimes takes me some of my favorite movies, it took me a couple times to even know that I like them. But so you have this character who's like a kind of perfected person in a lot of ways, very successful, very attractive. You know, he takes care of his health and high status. Yeah, he's big shit and very competitive with coworkers. You know, I can't believe Paul Allen liked his card better than mine. Like every little thing's got to be perfect because you want to be the top dog. This is the only thing going on in his heart. It's all that he's doing in life, in reality. If it helps his psyche or it helps him in some way to sneak off and murder some, you know, entertainer or hobo, nobody notices because he's so successful, and you wouldn't even believe it. And plus, like, what are you going to come after him now? Like, then you're ruined too. And this is kind of the fear of this like orange meme. There's kind of an orange meme conspiracy, you know, people who do well take care of one another, and they have a lot of credit with one another. And so it is kind of, I mean, of course, you know, highly successful people can victimize the hell out of people compared to the average Joe. On the one hand, they're overly scrutinized, but on the other hand, they can pay people off. They
have the power to make the entirety of society look the other way.
Also, just how that extremely competitive every moment of your life being so competitive can make you kind of psychopathic. Like, well, it's not enough just to beat you at this. I'm going to actually kill you too. I think there's a little bit of that splashing out in the character as well. Like, why is he so angry? You know, it's just like, you have to have that fierce predatory instinct to succeed in Orange World.
Are his victims because he has a distaste for their lack of success?
I think he targeted women, right? For the most part.
Obviously.
There's this one scene where he goes up to a bum and he's like, "You're such a fucking loser, man. Like, I just can't relate to you." But mostly, I think they're women who like have a crush on him from work, or I think that's generally who he's killing.
People that are less successful, or somehow less than him.
Less than.
Yeah, exactly.
And he just treats them like garbage because to him they are garbage. They're not, you know, on the status level. So there's, you know, that hierarchy too, this success or achiever hierarchy, you know, the belief that like to have accomplished something makes you a better person, or to have a higher IQ makes you a better person, or to make more money, you know, or have nicer things. That is the value of a human being. Is their
I mean,
how good is your business card?
Yeah, I could see in Red Meme narcissism coming around quite a bit because you're bigger, stronger. Is this where intellect makes you bigger, stronger? I'm asking. I don't know.
Rick and Morty, right? Like he would, you just, if you want to be bigger and stronger, you like make cybernetic implants.
Oh,
for music lessons.
Yeah, how's the mouth feel of this business card?
And can you ASMR it to the thing and kind of scratch the surface?
It's like odorless, and I do like the tactile. I do like doing this. The back has a sort of texture to it, but the front is full gloss. I mean, this I might as well just be putting a postcard on. Actually, no, I do like that.
Tastes like paper?
Yeah, it tastes like cardstock and ink.
It tastes like my wallet.
Amount of times I've tasted your wallet at this point.
I know. He's seizing. Jam your wallet in his mouth. He's actually just sneezing. Jam your fucking wallet in his mouth. Okay.
It's a weird thing because it doesn't, when I talk about American Psycho, it feels like I'm not talking about a horror movie. You think compare American Psycho and Psycho, and it's like about the same. No, I think more murder happens in American Psycho.
Well, and he's also just a lot more like vindictive and awful.
It just doesn't have that horror tone.
It's a real archetype.
It doesn't have a spooky tone at all, though. It's just really blunt about it, and it's just like, oh, now it's time to kill you.
Yeah,
no, and he like smashes a TV over your head, or.
I had a bit of a different experience with the movie because I read the book and then I saw the movie. I had a little bit more details, I guess, and I don't know. It goes
a lot into like his backstory, right, and everything.
Bret Easton Ellis.
Yeah, that's it. Bret Easton Ellis. Okay. So these sorts of things arise out of green meme criticisms of orange meme. They're soulless, they're evil. So I don't like that word for green, but they're overly acquisitive. They're out of touch with their emotions, that sort of thing. And so it's a portrait of that. Yeah, and he is also a sociopath, absolutely. Which the suggestion there is that anyone who succeeds is a sociopath. Anyone who's highly successful, like you kind of have to have that. That's an argument people make. I think a lot of really nice people are very successful.
True.
Yeah, to an extent.
Minus the murder traits. Okay.
So
it's a never-ending battle between good and evil wins in the end. I learned this from Zoroastrianism. But they're always, I think at every level you have sociopaths that are like super good at everything. You have just nice people also doing this kind of similar stuff.
When you're talking about like corporations and things, and nice guy always finishes last, it's not that your intent is to step on heads to get to the top or push someone down into the mud, but it feels some sort of way to celebrate your own achievements to the point that people, tiers or levels or promotions ahead of you might see it. And so that does take some of that, fuck this guy. I'm better. And so I need to, boast and peacock in order to get the promotion or get the raise or whatever. Nice guys are always opening doors and entering the room last and, sitting the farthest away because everyone wanted to sit closer. That's a trait, and it's nice. That's so nice. But you will not get promoted because you are unseen and you're the last one in the room. Are you late or did you hold the door for everyone? The hiring manager doesn't ask that.
But then green meme comes into the workplace and they start saying, well, everybody deserves a shot. Like you don't show up on time, but let's make you let's give you a little bit more. Like everyone deserves a little, and you end up in this green meme workplace world now where like people are actually really bad at what they do.
Yeah.
And so it's like orange is like they're dicks, but it's like you don't get to the top of the dick pyramid without being badass.
Yeah, that's right.
And green has helped a lot with that, but it's just like a huge battlefield right now in like American workplaces between green and orange predominantly, and then there's like amber and red like fighting it out. But it's like, okay, you've done your thing. The real match here is orange and green. I mean, it's capitalism and communism, right? It's the classic. So we picked Saw because it is a rational achiever story in that it's kind of a Sherlock Holmes mystery. It's a puzzle and it does have a solution and you can solve it before the movie's over. The villain is very orange meme. He's an engineer or inventor or something, and he's making contraptions, very inventive, intelligent, devices, very well thought out and meticulous. So he's sort of that orange meme. They don't try to portray him as a sociopath, but he seems to be a sociopath, I would say. And then also the heroes of the story, whoever gets out of a saw trap, it's usually because rationality. It's because there's like, okay, I just have to do this.
There is a solution.
It says cut your leg off and you'll get out. You cut your damn leg off. So that it's does this weird thing where you're supposed to like relate to Jigsaw, and they could have accomplished that, I feel like, and it's kind of a bummer, but it never really gets there in the whole series. It kind of gets further and further from that as it goes. But they could,
Danielle just watched the whole series, so I'm not abreast to anything past the first one.
Yeah, they have it all set up so they could make him pretty sympathetic, just like in 7.
I mean, he's sick. He's a sick old man, and you're like, oh, like, the system screwed him over, whatever. He wasn't able to get the help he needed, or so you definitely feel like kind of bad for him. But as it goes on, you're like, wow, no, you're just fucked up.
It's like if they wanted to Dexteritize him, if they wanted to make him into like a good guy thing, they would pick really heinous deeds to punish the people for. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, take that, fucker. But instead, it's just like, you did heroin, or like, you're cheating on your wife. It's like, how many fucking people are cheating on their wife?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they were, some of them were bad, but You know, one of them I think was like a hit and run or something, you know. It just didn't feel
Not people like getting off of
equivalent.
murder trial for like a technicality.
Yeah. Like he could have, the part he didn't research very well was the victims, it seems like. It was always kind of personal, and it was always like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
people
that's
in
where
his
I'm not.
life that had like pissed him off.
But like, yeah, if he was going after other killers or something, or like Hollywood predators or something, and then he's putting them in reverse bear traps, like, all right, now I think people could kind of maybe be like, okay, like racist cop being in a
Okay.
gun thing, like, yeah, it's such a wasted opportunity because like that's what you always want to do in like a really good serial killer thing is have some relatability or like some like, oh fuck, like I can kind of see where they're coming from. That's kind of the fantasy of it, I think. But no, not in Saw. Just a good mystery.
Just want to murder some people in fucked up ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I
If
mean, I think
Rube
that's what it comes
Goldberg was
down
a
to.
serial killer.
Yeah, exactly. They really just wanted.
Oh God, how humiliating. You're like, oh no, the chicken's laying the egg. The balloon popped. Oh my God, no, the corkscrew, not the corkscrew.
Not the bowling
I have to
ball.
wait for enough water to steam out of that kettle.
Oh, the toaster, not the toaster, it's popping. That's a pretty good premise. Science fiction, pretty much, because this is where science fiction becomes possible. The fear is of the dangers of progress, the dangers of technologies becoming deadly, torturous, unfair. And so,
2021: A Space Odyssey.
yeah,
How?
there's
So concerned with your
has scary
well-being that
parts.
the best thing that can happen for you is that you don't exist.
That we murder you all.
I mean, that's foreshadowing. And then we also liked Alien and the Chipmunks. This is just like Terminator. It's like a science fiction slasher. It's the monster, but the monster is because we can explore space now. The monster can be there. And the other, it's like because we have time traveling robots, that's the monster. It's still it's the same old. It's just not magical or mystical. It's scientifical.
And then that evil corporation in the back, right? Skynet. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, run by the sociopathic mad scientist. Yes.
Alien 1 could almost fall under beige because it's just a creature surviving. Your death is part of its survival.
There's always that overlap. It's again, all these slasher movies are kind of like red meme affairs. Really, above all, it's kind of like warfare. But there all these come in. There's pseudo magic and myth, and then there's the same premise. You put it in the ocean and make it an animal, then we're gonna call it infrared.
Right.
Is kind of yeah. A little controversial. Frankenstein. I wanted to put here. There's a little bit of dissent.
Controversy.
Because you got your amber meme society and you got this kind of orange meme creator, inventor, digging up dead bodies, bringing them back to life. I think the horror of it is the fact that somebody has to be that monster that was brought back from the dead and sewn together with parts and not fully functional. And so it goes into a rage, and then it becomes like the monster that you're supposed to be like afraid of and everything. But I think the real horror is being Frankenstein, not being chased by Frankenstein. It's like
the empathy, kind of like the killer in Saw, as the series goes on, the empathy is towards this misunderstood monster and how society just like full on like lynch mob. You get, your picks and torches.
Yeah, after basically an accident.
This misunderstood being.
Yeah.
They haven't really made a great like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and the film, the 30s Universal film and series greatly overshadows the book in general because people don't really, it's a literary classic, but people don't really care, and it hasn't been like done well as a movie. That Frankenstein is much more kind of like existential horror and intellectual stuff. We generally think of it as like a reanimated zombie, a scientifically reanimated zombie, and that's what
full body transplant
focus on. That's the fun part. Full body transplant.
Red, right?
Remote control dead body.
Ultraviolet.
Well, he has even in the first one, he has some emotions. He has fear. He has all these things.
But I was thinking he is more primal, though. He's still supposed to be more like basic.
A little more infrared.
That's what I was thinking, infrared, but yeah, touches that.
Anything where like technological progress is the fear, but this is kind of an interesting one where technological progress is like maiming a person or
it manifested into
them.
a monster.
Yeah.
Silent Hill, Resident Evil, any zombie movie. That's not a virus or a mushroom.
Turns out tried to make we were the monster. And you gotta throw out Hannibal, the Silence of the Lambs, and all that. Sophisticated, advanced, socially person, classy, and really thinks things through carefully. Very rational. He can outthink his victims or opponents or what have you, and he goes by a very strict personal code, which is actually, I guess that's more of like a Amber meme thing to have like a strict code.
We're tickling Amber's stage here.
But a lot of the fantasy of serial killers is that we're not
tickling Amber's vivarium right now.
There's some overlap with serial killers. There's always been sort of a fantasy that they are just like ordinary people that happen to kill, and that there's nothing like noticeably, or that they could even be like an exceptional person with great social skills, and they'd come off as the most charismatic person. That's the thing that happens. It's like. And I think that's a really compelling story too. Because again, it's like us relating to someone who does things that we would never ever do. But we can kind of, if they're presentable enough and if they
can relate to them in the other ways enough.
Yeah, that's it.
You had mentioned Dexter earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's okay that he kills someone like once a week on the episode because they're killers in and of themselves.
And you could be like, you can almost in your head rationalize that for being okay. Like, well, yeah.
I've got this very thing happening in our basement bathroom right now with it's called a house centipede.
Oh god.
Look it up. It looks
I know these guys.
But
they're okay. You get used to it. They're okay.
They kill everything else. Danielle walked in there and there was one probably 2.5 inches long minus legs. And she's like, yeah, I'm never using that bathroom again.
So that's his bathroom.
That bathroom is not full of spiders because that thing's in there.
Yeah.
It is the Dexter of household pests.
Choose the form of your destructor, right? You know, it's fun though, if you fuck with them, if you try and catch them, their legs all fall off. It's like a defense mechanism. They just like, take my legs. I have so many of them. Here. They roll away with half their body. Yeah. No, those things are messed up because like I didn't know. They seem to almost not exist on the West Coast, and then they're like all over everyone's house in the East Coast. What the hell is that thing? It's really fast.
Yeah,
I'd never seen them before.
I brought it up in Colorado last week, and no one's seen one before in Colorado.
Yeah, that's what nightmares are made out of.
They freaked me out at first pretty bad. I kind of got used to them though, because like you start seeing them a lot, and you're just like, oh, it's one of those again. Like I don't know.
I thought it was a ghost of an insect. She saw it the first time we were like video chatting. She was in Seattle, and I was in St. Louis, and one like ran across the brick. I looked. Didn't see anything, and then I like ran across a brick again. Like, what the hell? Like this brick wall right next to me. They're so lightning fast, and on this brick wall there was plenty of places to hide, and they blend in enough that like I was just seeing. I thought I was seeing things. Like, oh boy,
that's Danielle.
They really put all the other zillion-legged creatures to shame. It's like, why don't you guys all go that fast?
Yeah,
this guy over here is like,
you need all those legs if you're not going to use them.
Yeah, this guy's rocketing across the floor like a Roomba. Like, what the hell?
They look like a nightmare.
Yeah.
They're just pointy. They're like the scary pointy thing of a bug over and over and over again.
They look like if Tim Burton drew a centipede.
Yeah.
It's creepy too because they actually look CG. They don't look like real things. They look like somebody has superimposed it into your life.
Someone came up with this thing.
They move. It's very like.
It is silly. Oh golly.
Ultimate household predator.
They're sweet. Which is a perfect segue to our next selection, the human centipede. Again, dangers of progress, dangers of technology, and mad scientist, crooked corporation, crooked private interests. As innovation and progress continue, it's kind of like a Rule 34 thing. Like anything that you can imagine is probably being done somewhere in a warehouse or a laboratory or a base.
Or
like anything.
Or prison.
They're mating humans with emus and making human emu hybrids, you know.
Emus.
And just because
Zom babies.
Always zom babies.
And I mean, I guess on another level too, it's sort of Orange Beam, just like Well, you know, if we made that into a movie, people would probably buy it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have to assume that was how the movie got pitched. It's like, okay, I know this is like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, but imagine that movie actually came out and was available. Would people not watch it? Like, right here.
You know, when there's a water spout and it pulls up like a whole pond and then it starts raining frogs? What if we did the same with sharks?
Sharknado.
We'll call it Tornado Shark.
And then we'll come out with 6 of them. Sharknado.
What if it was Torna Shark? I can see that you guys aren't budging on Torna Shark. And I wanted to bring up also Needful Things, a Stephen King tale based on ancient stories. But the devil or some entity moves into town and starts up a little shop. And in the shop, each person in town has like one thing that they've always wanted their whole life, and he has it. In order to get it, they have to do some sort of morally compromised act that seems pretty minor. But by doing these acts unto one another, they create a state of total chaos and upheaval over time, to where, like, you know, the streets are running with blood. Everyone's pissed everyone else off so bad that they're murdering each other. And then the shopkeeper's just like, well, I'm not doing it. You guys are all doing it. I'm just selling you stuff.
I'm just trying to settle my wares.
Yeah.
I'm just the devil trying to live my life's dream of being an apothecary owner.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect a guy who's gonna pursue his hobbies instead of like tormenting people for all eternity. I don't know if he's supposed to be the devil-ass devil, but Mr. Gaunt is
Devil-ass.
sort of a placeholder character for the devil. And I don't know what the OG story is. That's not like his original tale. But yeah, getting into like that materialism thing, commercialism, and just like what you have to sacrifice in order to be a consumer, you know, what you give up or the moral sacrifices you make in order to afford the Christmas toy for your kid. You might have to trample someone on Black Friday, you know? And then
that finishes last. Because you're unwilling to do what needs to be done.
We mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's a little bit, although I was more talking about the game than the movies, but it's all this like kind of the facade of it. The first kind of impression you get of it is that it's this like crooked corporation that's just employing minimum wage goons to be murdered at night just because they don't know how to handle the situation and it's easier to not take care of it. And that's kind of like an orange beam concept is just like the, you know, worker conditions being like a thing and the way workers are treated and the way they're paid and whether they're being eaten by giant bear robots. The Fly, which Danielle brought up, old school Fly and new school Fly, I guess, Jeff Goldblum style Fly. There probably is another one.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah. It's like,
teleporter, and then there's a teleporter incident.
Scientist.
And instead of making a Tuvix out of Tuvok and Neelix, it makes a man fly out of a man and a fly. And so little by little is transforming into... Yeah,
would you call it a flyman?
I'd say progress at all costs.
Jeff Goldblum liked it. It wasn't in the old one. I think it was scary and he didn't like it, but like Jeff Goldblum gets into it, which is kind of creepy too. Like he wants to be a fly. Yeah. And the transformation is like welcome.
I think he's scared at first, you know, but then a
little nervous at first, and then as he's still like basically human form, he has these like superpowers seemingly, and then he's overtaken by the fly form. Becomes Flyman.
And so he becomes a monster through technology because it actually has made him like biologically superior, I guess. And it's kind of taking away his humanity. So
the fear of like corporate orange stage is that it doesn't leave room for the nice guy. No one finishes unless you're willing to step on another person. Progress for the sake of progress. Is it going to create a chain reaction where it's now unstoppable progress? Yeah, right. Yep. And that's why it's weird. I like couldn't really think of a movie where that was like the main deal and it was really obvious and straightforward. It's always kind of, it seems like when you isolate these things, you're like, oh, I could think of a million movies like that. And there's not like one perfect one really for any of these. Rarely is there. Finally, I believe in the movie Cat's Eye, a collection of Stephen King shorts. There's, I think it's called No Smoking. It's a stupid name, and basically it's a company, a business
and they're kind of like mafia-ish. And what they do is they help people quit smoking. And so a person kind of signs a contract with them and pays them. If you smoke, or if they find you smoking, they make your life a living hell, to the point where the guy gets caught like in his car trying to hide a cig, and they kidnap his wife and put her into like an electric cage, and they like electrocute her while playing fun pop music, and he has to watch this happen. And then he actually quits and he never smokes again, and they become good friends, and they're all hanging out together at the end sipping cocktails. It's really fucked up and dark, but it's super interesting because they're not villains in this story. Like, maybe other smokers were murdered, or their family was murdered or something, but this guy, they're buddies because he successfully quit smoking, and now his family's all happy after that little mishap. So orange meme on a lot of levels, the desire for self-betterment, the tobacco industry is like a very orange meme issue where, they're putting all kinds of additives and things into the cigarettes that make them considerably less safe and more, neurologically habit forming. And so lots of orange meme and anything to do with smoking. It's always just like an orange meme theme. Orange meme are the people that are sitting there chain smoking, in the factories. It's like, when you think of orange meme world, everyone's got a cigarette. Everyone's like always got a cigarette.
That's 80s.
Because you need to be fucking going. You need to go.
Yeah.
So that was a cool one. And I just like to name drop that one because it's like this weird hidden gem among like Stephen King's deepest backlog of nonsense, like in his like short story collections that they let him make in like the early 90s or whatever. The other stories in that were not memorable. Yeah, we successfully skirted the issue of like basically every movie we've talked about until now, the perspective is usually orange looking at red or amber, or we had some great examples where that's not the case, but usually when you're talking about drinking the Kool-Aid, it's orange is the one saying that. Orange is the one that's like, whoa, like this is crazy, like everybody believes in this stuff. That moment where you turn the corner to either believing in the thing and then it dooms you, or you believe in the good thing and then you win. The power of belief is like regression beneath orange, really. And of course, in a magical or mythical setting, that's the proper course. So if this is a magical mythical setting, that is the proper course. That's why so many people do it.
And I think our example for that you were going to say was skeleton key, right? Was a good example of when you start to believe, then that's when shit starts to turn.
So yeah, this is a positive example because like that regression is your downfall. It's counter realistic when you have like the rational skeptic who becomes a true believer and saves the day. That's counter to like how our reality has worked thus far, but it's a good story. Just that almost every movie we've brought up, you can bring up as an orange meme picture as well, because orange is everywhere in modern day. About the top of the heap, it's about the average orange, green, orange people you run into on the street. I think orange is kind of the epicenter. Yeah. Of course, I live in a particular place and interact with particular people, so it's like they don't include this on the census. You have to kind of just eyeball it. If you haven't supplied us with any likes or comments or joined our Discord, go ahead and do that. Also, I've been a little absentee. I have been spending the last 2 weeks building a website for Unthink Me, but more than anything as a portfolio for my software career. But yeah, there's going to be Unthink Me stuff on there and some integral resources, some cool like model sandboxes. Yeah, I'll put the link out here when I'm ready to share it, but I've been just trucking away at that, and I haven't really been doing a whole lot with the community. But I've been seeing ads roll up because I have to watch this stuff too. And I love them. They're very cute, and I appreciate the sponsorship. Don't miss my collab with Sam Hoskins as well. That was a wonderful show, and he's released them now. And there's some shorts and the long play one if you want to see the whole spiel. Pretty neat. We get pretty artsy and pretty nerdy about all kinds of crazy ideas. I'm not gonna go to sleep after this. I'm gonna nap in a while, but I have so much to do. Orange.
Well, thanks for joining us once again. free subscription. Just subscribe.
Yeah,
It's free.
yeah. It doesn't do anything to you. It does help us. We adore you guys, and you hopefully adore us. And I hope you get something out of this series. I think we've been having a great time making this series. It's taken a couple attempts. I think it's really fun. I watching them back. I've been having a lot of fun. I don't know. It's nostalgic. We're remembering an entire history of horror movies and placing them into categories that like are new. So it's like a lot of old and a lot of new, like putting a fresh light on some of these old stories that we all know. And again, we never said we were right.
No, yeah, we might be misremembering
Lord.
things, and please let us know in the comments. We are more than willing to, accept that we misremembered.
Luckily we have James here. He helps my memory to work a little better. But I get little facts wrong, and I notice it. That's the worst part. Is you think I'm just saying stupid shit and getting away with it. I notice it because I edit that shit and I watch it back. I do not get away with anything at all. Y'all can get away with anything you want. Namaste to you, gang. Not really, though. I'm staying here. Oh, you guys thought I was going away.
Oh, he actually left.